Good evening to you, and thanks for joining us tonight for your news at 11. I'm Billie Jean Shaw.
Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I'm Greg Adeline. Our top story tonight, an investigation is underway after a man was found shot to death at a Columbia apartment complex.
According to deputies, the shooting happened late last night around 10 o'clock at the Prosper Fairways apartment homes. That's not too far from I-20 and Columbia's Broad River. Deputies say they found the man in a car that had been shot multiple times. That man was pronounced dead at the scene. He has not been identified.
That murder that happened was one that basically is the one that tied all of this up. But let me tell you something. Zachary Chapman, even though I called him Zach Brown in my other video, bruh, I ain't gonna hold you. This one right here might be the one where it's gonna sound horrible, but bruh, his ass is done. If what they say is true, man, Blacc Zacc Blacc. Cuz. Thank you. Zachary Chapman, a.k.a. Blacc Zacc. You might hear me say Zach Black, too. I'm just going to put that out there. Y'all see this right here. Blacc Zacc, but I might say Zach Black. The grand jury for the District of Southern Carolina charges at all times relevant to this indictment that they try to run their little stuff. Introduction. Dirty Money Entertainment Enterprise. Dirty Money Entertainment, DME, was a violent gang based in the District of South Carolina that engaged in acts involving murder, drug trafficking, robberies, and other criminal activity from a time known but no later than June 2020 until the date of this indictment. Members and associates of Dirty Money Entertainment often wore jewelry and clothing that bore the organization's initials, DME, or the logo of the organization, a circular medallion with a dollar sign in the middle, accompanied by a marijuana leaf on top. Dirty Money Entertainment, including its leaders, members, and associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by Title 18 United States Code Section 19614. That is, a group of individuals associated in fact that engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, the enterprise. The enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members function as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the enterprise. Zachary Chapman was the founder and leader of DME. As the leader, Chapman directed all DME activities, but he occasionally delegated authority to other members and associates to perform certain tasks. DME operated out of Columbia, South Carolina, from a series of homes owned by Zachary Chapman and others. The gang based many of its operations out of a house located in Blythewood, South Carolina. The enterprise used airports in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and California to conduct its drug trafficking operations. Some members and associates of DME also were associated with various Crip sets and sometimes used symbols and language that corresponded with the Crips. Examples included incorporating the term on Crip and in some of their communication with DME members and refusing to write the letters CK because they believe it stands for Crip Killer. Instead, members and associates substituted CC for CK in their writing and communication. Members and associates of the enterprise had loosely defined roles as couriers, drivers, drug dealers, weapon suppliers, organizers, and enforcers. Members and associates of DME wore medallions, clothing, and tattoos to demonstrate their affiliation with the enterprise. Members and associates of DME often incorporated the term dirty into their street names and tattoos. Members and associates of DME often included the number 48 in lyrics to music they recorded on clothing and jewelry they wore to represent the 48 area in Columbia, South Carolina, which encompasses 5 neighborhoods: Starlight, Bluff Estates, Eastway Park, Arthurtown, and Washington Park, where numerous members and associates of the enterprise were from. DME had a set of rules to maintain discipline and ensure criminal acts committed on behalf of the enterprise were executed properly. These rules prohibited cooperation with law enforcement, limited affiliations outside of the enterprise, required repayment of debts owed to DME leaders, prohibited members and associates from diverting the enterprise's funds or drugs, and imposed price controls and exclusive distribution arrangements on drug trafficking operations. Members and associates of DME retaliated against individuals who they perceived to have disrespected or threatened the enterprise's standing reputation or drug trafficking operations. Members and associates of DME were expected to commit criminal acts on behalf of the enterprise. The commission of criminal acts, particularly violent acts directed at rivals, increased the respect accorded to members and associates of DME. Conversely, if a member or associate declined to commit criminal acts or failed to retaliate when the enterprise was disrespected, that member or associate will lose respect or otherwise be punished. Purpose of the enterprise. The purpose of DME enterprise included, but were not limited to, the following: enriching members and associates of the enterprise through drug trafficking and robbery, committing crimes of violence to promote and enhance the reputation of the enterprise and to keep rival gang members in fear of the enterprise, providing protection and assistance to members and associates who committed crimes on behalf of the enterprise, and hindering, obstructing, and preventing law enforcement from identifying, apprehending, and prosecuting participants in the enterprise's criminal activity. Means and methods of the enterprise. Among the means and methods by which members and associates of DME conducted and participated in the conduct of their affairs of the enterprise included, but were not limited to, the following: members and associates generated income by agreeing to and engaging in illegal activities under the protection of the enterprise, including drug trafficking, robbery, and other illegal activities. Members of the enterprise acquired, shared, carried, and used firearms for protection and to commit crimes including retaliatory acts of violence towards those they perceived had disrespected the enterprise. Members and associates committed violent crimes to promote and enhance the reputation of the enterprise and to keep rival gang members in fear of the enterprise. Members and associates acquired vehicles to commit and facilitate other crimes, including providing transportation to and from crimes, and members and associates of the enterprise used coded language and other means of communication to avoid detection and apprehension by law enforcement authorities. The Racketeering Conspiracy. Beginning on the date unknown, but since at least in or about June 2020 and continuing until the date of the indictment in the District of South Carolina and elsewhere, Zachary Chapman is blurred out, a couple names because, certain catches I'm telling, and other known and unknown to the grand jury, persons employed by and associated with Dirty Money Entertainment, an enterprise engaged in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce, did unlawfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other to violate Title 18 United States Code Section 1962C, that is, to conduct or participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as defined in Title 18 United States Code Section 1961(1) and 5, which pattern of racketeering activity consisted of multiple acts involving murder, chargeable under South Carolina Code, robbery, chargeable under South Carolina Code, multiple acts indicatable under Title 18 United States Code Section 1958 relating to the use of interstate commerce facilities in the commission of murder for hire, Title 18 United States Code Section 1951 relating to interference with commerce, robbery, and extortion, and multiple offenses involving drug trafficking in violation of Title 21 United States Code Section 841 and 846. It was further a part of the conspiracy that each defendant agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity in the conduct of the affairs of the enterprise, overt acts. In furtherance of the conspiracy and to effect the object, therefore, the defendants and others known and unknown to the grand jury committed and caused to be committed the following acts, among others, in the District of South Carolina and elsewhere, beginning at the date unknown but no later than in or about June 2020 and continuing up and through, including the date of this indictment. Members and associates of the enterprise, including Zachary Chapman, co-conspirator 1, and others, both known and unknown to the grand jury, conspired to traffic marijuana to raise funds on behalf of DME. From in or about June 2020 until on or about the date of this indictment, co-conspirator 1 and others known and unknown to the grand jury transported large amounts of cash from Columbia, South Carolina to Los Angeles, California for the purpose of purchasing quantities of marijuana on behalf of DME. On or about June 8, 2020, co-conspirator 1 attempted to transport approximately $18,000 in cash from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles, California to buy marijuana on behalf of DME. On or about August 5th, 2020, co-conspirator 1 possessed with intent to distribute a quantity of marijuana. On or about September 3rd, 2021, notified Zachary Chapman and that is his diamond encrusted DME medallion representing his affiliation with DME had been stolen by CW, a member of a rival gang known as Rack Living. On or about September 3rd, 2021, members and associates of DME, including Zachary Chapman, co-conspirator 1, and others known and unknown to the grand jury, met to discuss the theft of DME medallion and to plan retaliation for the theft. On or about September 3rd, 2021, Zachary Chapman directed and others known and unknown to the grand jury to carry out a drive-by shooting at CW. On or before September 3rd, 2021, co-conspirator 1 gave Blacc 1 or more firearms on behalf of Zachary Chapman. God dang, bruh. On or about September 3rd, 2021, Zachary Chapman ordered co-conspirator 2 to provide firearms for use in the drive-by shooting of CW to Blacc and an individual unknown to the grand jury. My bad, y'all. On or about September 3rd, 2021, Blacc gave a firearm to another DME member to commit the drive-by shooting in CW. On or about September 3rd, 2021, and others unknown and known to the grand jury armed themselves with multiple firearms and obtained a vehicle to commit the drive-by shooting in CW. On or about September 3rd, 2021, and others known and unknown to the grand jury drove to a location where the group believes CW was present. We're just gonna stop saying on or about September 3rd because it's just kind of getting kind of lame here. So, co-conspirator 1 provided simultaneous information and updates about the drive-by shooting of Zachary Chapman. They committed the drive-by shooting, targeted CW and members of RAC Living, and shot his driver in the arm during the drive-by shooting. And others known and unknown to the grand jury abandoned multiple firearms and fled the scene of the drive-by shooting. What? On or about September 8th, 2021, co-conspirator 1 and others known and unknown to the grand jury transported approximately $30,000 in cash from Columbia, South Carolina to Los Angeles, California for the purpose of purchasing quantities of marijuana for DME as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about September 9th, 2021, Blacc were ordered by Chapman to retrieve the stolen DME medallion from CW, who was staying at a local hotel. On or about September 9th, 2021, armed themselves with multiple firearms, obtained a vehicle, and drove to CW's location. So when they slid the first time, they didn't get him, they shot his driver. Okay. On or about September 9th, 2021, Blacc identified CW's location. As they approached CW, fired multiple rounds until his gun jammed. On or about September 9th, 2021, Zachary Chapman kicked Blacc out of DME because Blacc failed to kill CW. Oh, wow. In or about September 2021, Zachary Chapman ordered a hit on and offered a bounty for the killing of CW. So they were supposed to slide, kill him, didn't kill him, shot his driver up, slid again, shot the person up, and then somebody got kicked out because his gun jammed. Niggas is cold, bruh. On or about September 22nd, 2021, Zachary Chapman sent Blacc to meet with Blacc. In or about September or early October 2021, Blacc coordinated with an associate to find someone outside Columbia, South Carolina to commit the murder of Zachary Chapman in exchange for monetary compensation. In or about October of 2021, the associate conveyed the offer from Zachary Chapman and Blacc to Blacc, who agreed to kill CW in exchange for monetary compensation. So that's, y'all see that, I ain't even finna say it. If you know, you know. On or about October 20th, 2021, Blacc traveled from Aiken, South Carolina to Columbia, South Carolina to meet with Blacc at a Columbia area hotel. On or about October 2021, Javon Hampton attempted to lure CW to an apartment complex in Columbia, South Carolina. After CW did not appear, Blacc researched the murder for October 21. Prior to October 21, 2021, Zachary Chapman provided Blacc with a Ruger 5.7 pistol and requested that it be used to kill CW. Damn, cuz. On or about October 21, 2021, exchanged coded text messages with an associate about the plan to murder CW. Hamilton gave the authorization for Blacc to murder CW. On or about October 21st, 2021, traveled to Aiken, South Carolina to an apartment complex in Columbia, South Carolina to murder CW. On or about October 21, 2021, approximately 10:30 p.m. ET, Blacc shot CW multiple times at close range, leaving him dead in a parking lot. Blacc received a report that Blacc had murdered CW. Blacc traveled to the Columbia area hotel to meet Blacc. Blacc paid Blacc thousands of dollars in cash and gave Glover the Ruger 5.7 pistol that Zachary Chapman had previously provided. Blacc disposed of the 9mm pistol used in the murder. So from on or about October 21st, 2021 to on or about October 22nd, 2021, Zachary Chapman and Blacc exchanged calls and coded text messages after news reports of CW's murder began to circulate. Blacc attempted to delete his text messages with CW. Zachary Chapman attempted to delete messages with Blacc regarding the murder. Blacc was paid additional compensation for the murder of CW by Blacc. Co-conspirator 1 knowingly, intentionally, and unlawfully possessed with the intent to distribute a quantity of marijuana. Co-conspirator 1 intentionally... Oh, okay. So I probably should say the dates. So November 24th, 2021, co-conspirator 1 knowingly, intentionally, and unlawfully possessed with the intent to distribute a quantity of marijuana. On or about January 12, 2022, Blacc followed a marijuana trafficker from Greenville, Spartanburg International Airport to a nearby gas station. Once there, Blacc robbed the marijuana trafficker at gunpoint and stole multiple suitcases containing the marijuana. On or about January 12, 2022, Zachary Chapman told Blacc that the trafficker they robbed was a gang member and directed them to return the marijuana. On or about January 13, 2022, Zachary Chapman negotiated the return of a portion of the stolen marijuana to the owner. I ain't gonna lie, that's cool, bro. Like, shit, you don't want to go to war, but I'm gonna have to tax a little bit, bro, because we did catch you slipping. On or about January 14th, 2022, Blacc made a payment to the victim of the robbery. Real nigga shit. On or about January 25th, 2022, Blacc and another DME member drove to Greenville Spartanburg International Airport, donned masks, and attempted to rob 4 individuals who were trafficking approximately 50 pounds of marijuana. Blacc and the other DME member exchanged gunfire with the drug traffickers. Yeah, because we ain't going unless you're ready to get. Yeah. On or about January 25th, 2022, Blacc called Zachary Chapman to report the shootout. Chapman then directed Blacc and other DME members to come to his home. Wow. On or about January 25th, 2022, Blacc and other DME members drove to Zachary Chapman's house in Blythewood, South Carolina. On or about January 25th, 2022, Zachary Chapman directed Blacc and other DME members to destroy and dispose of evidence from the shooting at the airport. On or about July 20th, 2022, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana left from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about August 8th, 2022, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about August 18th, 2022, Blacc and other members and associates of DME transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about September 1st, 2022, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about September 21st, 2022, Blacc and other members and associates of DME transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles to California to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. And cuz over here buying about a boatload. On or about September 29, 2022, members and associates of DME transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about October 12, 2022, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. So he got a real live snitch in his crew, bro. On or about November 9th, 2022, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about November 16th, 2022, members and associates of DME transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about December 2nd, 2022, members and associates of DME transported a large quantity of marijuana from Los Angeles, California to Columbia, South Carolina, as directed by Zachary Chapman. On or about January 3rd, 2023, Blacc transported a large quantity of marijuana from LA to Columbia, directed by Zachary Chapman, special sentencing factor. As a part of his agreement to conduct and participate in the conduct of the affairs of the DME enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, Zachary Chapman committed the following act on or about October 21st, 2021. In the District of Columbia, Zachary Chapman did knowingly and intentionally kill CW with malice aforethought and did aid and abet the same in violation of South Carolina Code 16-3-10, 16-1-40, and 16-3-20 in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1962D. So I'm just going to go through the counts because we already just did the whole entire thing. So count 2, attempted murder and aid of racketeering. So basically, yeah, we already went through all of this stuff. So, yeah, on or about September 3rd, 2021, in the District of South Carolina, Zachary Chapman and others, known and unknown to the grand jury for the purpose of gaining interest and maintaining an increasing position in dirty money entertainment and enterprise engaged in racketeering activity, aiding and abetting one another, did knowingly and intentionally attempt to murder. So, yeah, there you go. Count 3, use, carry, and discharge of a firearm in retaliation to a crime of violence. We're going to go through. Count 4, conspiracy to commit murder and aid of racketeering. We're going to keep on going because, like I said, we already read all this. Count 5, murder and aid of racketeering. And count 6, use of interstate commerce facilities and the commission of murder for hire, which means they was on that road, bruh. Bruh was over there taking trips. Count 7, use, carry, and discharge of a firearm and in retaliation to a crime of violence. Basically, in your chain snatch, we came back and we spun on you. Count 8, causing death through use of a firearm. Count 9, conspiracy to interfere with commerce by threats of violence or violence, forfeiture allegation. Whew, this was going to get good. The grand jury further finds RICO conspiracy. Upon conviction of the offense alleged in count 1 of this indictment, charging RICO conspiracy in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1962D, defendants Zachary Chapman, shall forfeit to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code Section 1963. 1. Any interest acquired and maintained in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1962, which interests are subject to forfeiture to the United States pursuant to Title 18, United States Code Section 1963, 8-1. Any interest in, security of, claims against, and property and contractual rights of any kind affording a source of influence over the enterprise which the defendants has established, operated, controlled, conducted, and participated in the conduct of in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1962, which interests, securities, claims, and rights are subject to forfeiture to the United States pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Section 1963, A2, or any property constituting and derived from any proceeds which defendant obtained directly and indirectly from racketeering activities in violation of Title 18. We just gonna keep on going. Firearm offenses upon conviction for felony violation, Title 18 United States Code. We ain't finna do all that. Charge the defendant Zachary Chapman, all his people shall forfeit United States. If it ain't do all that, robbery, murder for hire, all of this crap, and jewelry. They want this man's jewelry, gold, and diamond, dirty money, entertainment pendant. Owner Zachary Chapman. Glock 17, 9mm pistol with 3 magazines, and a 4.4 9mm rounds of ammunition, serial number blank, seized from whoever. Ruger 5.7 pistol or magazine, 14 5.7 mm rounds of ammunition. Cash proceeds, forfeiture, judgment, a sum of money equal to all proceeds the defendant obtained directly or indirectly from offenses charged in this indictment, all in interest and proceeds traceable thereto and / or that sum of equals all property derived from the traceable to their violation of Title 18. Whew, here we go right here. Substitute assets. And this is where Rennie Rucci better be ready. If any of the property described above as being subject to forfeiture to the United States as a result of any act or omission of a defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third party, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, or has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty, it is the intent of the United States pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Section 1963M and all this other stuff to seek forfeiture of any other property of the said defendant upon to the value of the above forfeitable property pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Sections 924D1. We ain't finna do all that shit. We're finna end it right here. True crime bill redacted for a person. Brian P. Sterling, United States Attorney District of South Carolina. David L. Jaffe, because I know y'all ain't saying half-a down there. Chief Violent Crime Racketeering Section, United States Department of Justice. Sheesh. Even if Buddy didn't snitch, who they're saying ratted, this right here got that man out the paint. You're talking about phone calls, text messages, all type of evidence in this little thing right here. So, is he done? It don't look good. They're about to come for all his properties, all of this stuff. And let me tell y'all something, man. The 1 foot in the game, 1 foot out the game is bad. Being the big fish in the pond is even worse. But here's where everything must stop, and we all got to sit back and go, damn. There was a question asked in the comment section on Instagram when I broke this news yesterday. And I literally said this. How much is enough? No, somebody else did. Somebody else did. I did not say that. I tried to take credit for somebody else stuff. The person asked the question of this. He said, man, how much money is enough? And I'm going to be fair. The luxurious lifestyle that they don't tell you about is the depletion of funds and your need to recreate new ones. See, if you don't have a constant flow of money, if you get what's called an advance, that still has a set amount. You still have to build upon it. Rap ain't selling unless you are going to shows and promoting your stuff like you are on a damn tour to say, buy my shit. That's what Cardi B did. That's what all these other rappers had to do. They got to get in what's called the paint. You got to go do what you got to go do. But when you get to a level of comfort and certain things cost less than they do everywhere else, South Carolina is not an expensive state like that, bro. So it is what it is, man. We'll see what happens. Always, like we say, innocent until proven guilty. But if all this shit is true, bro, he ain't never coming home. Y'all can kiss his ass goodbye. The fact that they were willing to go that far to put it out there as far as everything that they have going on, bro. Think about it like this. Lil Durk case is hidden by a lot of secrecy, a lot of hearsay, a lot of he say, she say stuff from witnesses. They say we got all this on phone from him to middleman to other person, from him to driver, from him to this person, from him to this person. They're not saying anything else other than that. They use the word coded language a little bit, but it ain't going to be that goddamn freaking... it's not going to be that hard to basically debunk whatever the hell they trying to put out there. Subscribe, turn on bell to notified, share to keep your people aware, man. We just going to see how this one play out, but I ain't going to lie. It ain't looking good. Am I going to say he guilty? Shit, it'd be hard to say he ain't. But, you know, we never know. We never know. Could have been set up. Somebody could have, you know, hey, antagonize this and try to bring it on. So I'm assuming that there could be an angle to where they try to say entrapment. I ain't gonna hold you. I'd be like, man, look, well, you can't say it, but your lawyers have to basically paint the picture of, man, look, they came after him, meaning the person who did this and set this up. They came after him and basically was like, we need to get back. We need to do this. We need to do that. It needs to look more so like a form of peer pressure that he just didn't give a damn about. But that's going to be a hard angle to spin. Y'all let me know your thoughts on how he could beat this one. Subscribe, turn on bell to notify, share to keep your people aware. Click right here and see how Alicia Andrews just cooked her damn feet in the Julio Fulio murder trial. Bruh, it is beyond over. The question is, how long is she going to be sentenced? Or click right here for the playlist, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Reloaded.